Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour Season 6. Ladies, are you ready for some cocktails and conversation?
Yay! Let's
Okay,
go.
let's get it cracking.
Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? With your host, the unapologetic diva, Dr. G, the girlfriend therapist, Dr. Cortina Lewis, the Blue Phoenix Heels, Louisa Harrell, and the networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour.
Woo, it's Wednesday, another day. It's another day of the week. It's cold. Of course, this is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G.
This is Cortina Lewis, aka the girlfriend therapist.
This is Diana Richardson Philippus, your networking extraordinaire.
Louisa.
Lord, it's too much. It's too much going on over here. And this is Louisa Harrell, the Blue Phoenix. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We have a drink especially sent by the lovely Dr. Lewis herself. Hold on one second. Hey. Okay, so it's called a Purple Peach Champagne Cocktail. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh goodness. This is what happens. Cortina, did you have the drink? You said you sent it to her?
Oh, I sent it to her a few days
Oh,
ago.
she's
Sorry,
back.
I got it. I'm
so
sorry.
pretty.
I don't know
It's
what my son
purple because
doing.
purple is my favorite
Yeah,
color.
it is purple, and that's what made me want to do it. I was like, oh, it might be a Cortina. But it is a purple peach champagne cocktail. You need 1.5 ounces of Empress 1908 gin, 1/5 ounce simple syrup topped with champagne. You rim the glass, the champagne flute, with sugar sprinkles, and the sprinkles they have is purple. They're purple, and then you garnish with a purple marshmallow peep. I wish I can show y'all this picture. It's just so maybe y'all can see it. You probably can't see it, but look, this is a video.
Oh,
It's
nice.
delicious. I'll drink it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is that on top? The marshmallow?
Sugar, purple sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, of course, purple.
I love, and guess what? I'm drinking something purple.
What do you?
Gatorade! Yay! The purple Gatorade. Got my purple. I'm getting my purple electrolytes today, child.
Okay. Get your electrolytes in. Get your electrolytes in. So we're gonna hop into the conversation for today because one, I mean, like I had even posted recently about just how the weather can kind of drag you down. And so I know it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and typically, there's a lot of different ways you can have conversations around mental health. But today, I said we're gonna really have some great cocktails and conversation on the good side of work-life balance. So, I'm gonna kick this off, and I'm going to, Louisa, I'll start off with you. It's like, what do you do for work-life balance that makes you enjoy life?
I try to do I try to do things that I can find joy in, and especially with this background here, these two youngest of the clan, you have to find time to incorporate them as well as you got to work, you got to pay bills, you got to do other things. But I think you have to make you a priority. You have to make rest a priority. You have to make time a priority because it's just so many video clips that's coming up, and Jamie Foxx, who's in the hospital, and they will not confirm it, but a lot of people believe he's having he had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
And he was filming a movie. Of course, we didn't know, but they have his double playing his role.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if we think that these jobs care more about us than we care about ourselves, we're sadly mistaken. And we have to make our time a priority.
Yeah. What about you, Louisa? I mean, Cortina.
I was just having a conversation. Like last week was a really uh heavy week for me, like emotionally. Like I was going through a lot, and it's almost like I kept saying, okay, like how much more can I take? Like how much more can I take? Like stuff with just life stuff that people probably don't know that you go through on like a daily basis because you mask it and hide it so well. But I think in a long time since like my health scare like a few years ago, like this last week was really really difficult for me. Just emotionally, I found I was very tearful and just a lot of stuff. And so I was sitting and reevaluating, and I kept saying to myself, I just need a break. Like, and I'm not talking, I just need a physical break from all the stuff that I'm either worrying about, doing, all of that. I just felt like I needed that. And then I'm saying that, and then on Sunday, something else happened with my dad, and I was like, oh my God, I just was saying I needed a break. Now it's like something else I now have to carry. And so being able to find time to mentally escape from it all, diaphragmatic breathing, meditation, incorporating those things, because you can't always get a break, like the type of break that I needed. I need to go to an island with no phones, no computer, like nobody cannot reach me unless it's a 911 emergency and somebody is on the ventilator in the hospital. Like you cannot reach me. And that's not always possible. And so just reminding myself, okay, just baby steps. Okay.
Mhm.
Being able to say, you know what? I don't need to finish these notes tonight. I'm going to go to sleep. I don't have to finish everything on my to-do list. And so that's what I'm doing on a smaller scale to help me better navigate and manage some of what I have happening in my life right now.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Diana?
It's kind of funny listening to you, Cortina, because I literally was just having this conversation and have been having this conversation and feelings now for like a couple weeks where I'm just like, I'm tired. I need a break. And I was like, I just want to go to an island and just disconnect. I don't want to think. I don't, and it sounds, I don't really like saying that out loud. It's hard for me because I'm always working. I don't give myself breaks. And, and I've been on this trajectory lately where I'll work, 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 work. And then I get a really bad headache because I'm migraine prone. And then it knocks me down. So then I have to rest, but it's not the type of rest that I really want, if that makes sense. Like I want to be able to enjoy a day resting instead of not feeling good. So is that, sorry. I've been really trying to just tell myself that it's okay and you're going to be okay if you really do take those breaks for yourself. If I can't get to an island, then there's a plethora of things that I really enjoy doing. Like I talk about it all the time. I like being in my yard. I like doing gardening and I rehab furniture. And these are things that I used to do some years ago that would bring me joy. It's a way to decompress, but I don't do it anymore because I'm always working. So I'm just going to continue to try, I'll just do my best to get better at prioritizing my own mental health and sanity sometimes, because work is going to be there no matter what it is. Some things don't have to get done today. I've been sick and still getting up periodically like, oh, let me just go to my laptop, let me go in my office and see. And then I have to remind myself, like, you don't even feel good. Go sit down. Like I'm in the bed right now drinking Gatorade. And I got a shrimp tackle box. My husband went to Popeyes and got my shrimp tackle box. I'm so excited. But yeah.
That sounds so good right now.
Girl,
Oh, there
I'm
you
about
go.
to get to it right now. Right now.
Lord, that sounds good.
I think for me, I've learned to figure out the balance side from working extremely long hours every day in, day out. And I'm always now conscious. I'm twice as conscious now because there was that time where I would literally work all day because, I get up in the morning, work my full time, and then get home, work my company, because when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting out, even if you have a full time, you still have to dedicate time to that. So I'm dedicating the time to that. I'm working till 11 or 12 o'clock, sometimes 4 in the morning on a weekend when the weekend is made to rest. And then for the first year, from 2020 to 2021, like that first year, when I was solopreneuring it, just like that's all I was doing, I had such a hard time pulling myself away from still working 18-hour days. And I've always had a balance where it's like, yeah, I'm going to still go happy hour. I'm still doing date night. I'm still doing all of these things, but then I'm not sleeping well. And so now I have a prioritized sleep, and that's a lot for me. So whether it's me taking a sleep aid, because that's what I do, I actually invested in a weighted blanket. So when I can't sleep for some reason, when I pull that weighted blanket over me, I'm like, oh, I am out. Jay calls it my old person blanket, but I don't care.
Oh, hell no.
But he does. He says, you your old person blanket. I'm like, it has been therapeutic for me getting sleep, because I can go 1,000 miles, without sleep. But now I prioritize that for me. And so that's where I get my joy, because I've always been out and about, going to socialize and building that part in my life. I just didn't prioritize sleep like I should have. So now I do. I sleep more than I should sometimes. I had to get up early this morning for a meeting at 8 o'clock, and I don't normally get up until 7:45. But
Yeah.
I think for me, I learned to prioritize sleep in my work-life balance. So I'm happy about that. Cortina, I need you to balance a little more sleep.
So in the past week, it wasn't so much of that. It was more so like stuff with my daughter, my dad, like stuff I have no control over. And so when you have factors in your life and you're like, I feel helpless with this situation. Like there's nothing I can do to fix this. There's nothing I can do to change this. And when there's so many multiple things like that, that's a different type of, weight on you that you're kind of deal with. Because as a parent, as a mom, you're worried about your child and what does this mean? And so it brought a different type of feeling that hadn't necessarily been there before, on top of me regularly like just carrying and doing too much. So it was like really different. And yeah, so last night I was like, I'm not doing these. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep at like 8:40. I was like, I'm tired. It's so funny because
That's
I was like, hey, will I be able to have enough time so I can already be at home? So as soon as we get off, I can go to sleep. I'm like, nah, the way the traffic's set up, I'm not going to make it home in enough time. So I just got to stay, here, which is fine. But I'm balancing, like, am I going to be able to get these notes done tomorrow? And because if I don't get them done tonight, I have to do them tomorrow. Because if I don't get them done tomorrow, I got all the ones from tomorrow, plus the ones from the day previously. And then I'm sitting with my whole weekend trying to catch up and do all the notes that I did. And I hate doing that because there's never a free weekend. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Like it's always something to do. And yes, you can say no, but I can't not go to the soccer game.
Yeah.
I not go to the debate competition. I can't not. So like all of these different things. I have a funeral this weekend out of town. My aunt's husband passed away. I can't not show up to the funeral. So it's like, again, some things are out of the control, and you have to be able to balance it. I could be selfish and say no, I'm not going to the soccer game, but that's not fair to the little one who playing soccer because kids don't be here. So you still got to show up for them.
So I have to ask, Diane, I'm going to come and ask you in a second, but Cortina, while we're on you have a lot going on and you're a newlywed. How do you prioritize D in all of your madness now? Because being a newlywed means, like, you know, it's, even though, you know, you was together, you know, I keep hearing that it's different once you're married. So how do you prioritize your husband in the midst of all the things that you have going on?
So I have two schools of thought on that. Number one is,
okay,
I'm not prioritizing him. Not that I don't want to, I'm just not. Like, I'm being like accountable and saying, like, I am not intentionally making sure that my husband is a priority. One of the good things about him is he's very low maintenance and he's always at home. And so, you know, I check in with him. I'd be like, you all right and everything. And so when he starts saying like little things, or like, I call it coat riding, when the kids say, you're always working, or you're always at work, or whatever. He'd be like, yeah, what did you say today, Tim? She's always working, huh? And so I try to make sure that we do have time where we have conversations. Like this past, what day was that? Monday, we had like a 3-hour conversation just about us, just about the different circles, because I think it's important to talk about the different circles within your relationship. You have financial circles, you have intimacy circles, you have health circles, you have household finances circles, you have cleaning circles, you have children circles, so you have sexual circles. So you have all of these circles, and sometimes the circles are not balanced. So whereas the children, that might be 100%, every place else is failing within the relationship. So, you know, us having these conversations to see, okay, are we on the same page as it relates to this? So while every day I don't feel as though I'm prioritizing you, the priorities of the relationship are consistently on my mind, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I might not be laying up Netflix and then chilling with you every day. However, we are still having these conversations that are very much needed. And I will say, if I was my own patient, I would say you need to do better in that area. You know, because you can get so focused. Okay, 1 month turn into 3 months, 3 months turn into a year, and you keep saying like you want to prioritize, and then the prioritization never comes. So being able to hold myself accountable for the same standard that I would say would be acceptable in a relationship, I am reminding myself that that is important.
Damn, that's deep. Because first of all, Diana looked at me, and Diana kind of had the same look when you started talking about all these goddamn circles. I was like, oh shit, the fuck? I ain't never think about all these circles. I know. Look, I saw her eyes. I saw her eyes, and I was like, God damn. And then, because now, what? Now that you say that, because I'm extremely mindful, and I'm very present in Jay and I relationship. Always have been. I mean, I cook dinner all the time. We sit and eat dinner together for the most part, because that's what I feel like is important. But now you got all these other fucking circles that are added to the mix, and I'm like, ooh, I don't think that circle been sitting out there for a minute. That circle has dried up because it ain't had no kind of conversation with it. Because now I didn't realize like all of the different conversations you should have, even if not all the time, that you should sometimes pay attention to. So, girl, now I feel like my whole relationship falling apart because I got balls.
So this is the thing,
I got the circles falling everywhere.
I think it's really good. So let's just say you have your core circles, because one of the things that came up in me and Dee's conversation was he has priorities that are important to him. Finances, health, kids. Those are his 3 priorities, right? Those are the things that give him stress. If he was to feel stress, if there's no romance, he don't really care. That don't bring him stress. My priorities are a little bit different. Intimacy is one of my priorities. And so you see how we have all of our circles, but the way we prioritize our circles are even different. So if we're not having the conversation about bringing our circles in balance, you may think the relationship is going great, but in reality, if you pull the cover back, we're so out of balance that when we start to feel conflict, we really can't put our finger on where it's coming from. But that's because the circles are not in alignment with one another. So having these conversations, and I will send you ladies the circles so that you can have them, because that is and maybe I should have said this. Okay, I hope this goes to a lot of people, but not really, because that is actually a training, a marital training course that I'm working on developing and creating as it relates to my sex unveiled. So now we done brought the spice back in it. Okay, how do we allow that to flow into other areas within our relationship?
Okay. So Diana, so now now that you don't know about the goddamn circles and shit, and I don't know, she makes me feel like my whole relationship is just like, yeah, it's questionable. But Diana, how do you prioritize Masibo, the mister? And you all been together for what, like married?
6 years.
Okay, so how do you, as busy as you are on the go, how do you prioritize your husband?
Well, at first, not very well.
Oh.
He was severely neglected and resentful. You know, that's just what it was. And while I understood, I was in such tunnel vision mode that I had to do, and I would stop and try to explain to him, but explaining, he didn't get it. Okay. Fast forward some years, now what I do, and I still work all the time, don't get me wrong, I do, but I still try to carve out time for him, right? So let's just say I know I'm going to pull an all-nighter. So I'll stop for a little while, you know, because he has his own routine that he does. And I know his routine. Like when he gets off, he wants to go, you know, outside, especially when it's nice out on the patio. He want to pop a beer. I'll make some time, you know, to go with him out on the patio. Hey, how was your day? Make sure that I'm checking in with him. And I also do temperature checks. Like I just did one this weekend, you know, where I noticed that we're not really spending a lot of time together doing like just watching movies. You know, Cortina, you said Netflix and chill like that. That's one of our things, or used to be. And while, you know, I'm busy, so my Netflix and chill ain't.
Did you say Netflix? Did you just say some Netflix? I thought I heard
to catch you because you know it's National Masturbation Month.
Ooh,
it?
okay.
It is. May
Well, I
is
need to get
National
up on my
Masturbation.
job.
Yeah, May has a lot. It's a lot of nationals in May.
National Nut Month or Masturbation Month. I'm sorry, you was talking about getting your Netflix and chill, but go ahead.
May is coming. Literally, CUMMING. May is coming.
Well, let him know that. I'm sure he'll be thoroughly entertained with that one. I'm gonna be like, hey, guess what this month is? But you know, I checked in with him and I was just like, I just expressed myself because I've been so withdrawn in a lot of ways, then he just don't, you know, he started creating his own little thing without me. So I did a temperature check this weekend, like, hey, no, I've been busy. You know, I'm coming off of 3 straight events and planning up into that, but I want to watch some movies and this is how I'm feeling. He expressed to me, well, Diana, you know, you work all the time. Blase, blase, blase. Long story short, we watched movies this weekend and we had some, you know, intimacy, couple time. I'm not talking about sex either when I say intimate. I mean, just being together. But I'm still slacking in some of them circles, though. I am. And I'm going to do better.
Yeah. Conversation wise, I feel like I'm slacking in some areas. And I think maybe, you know, Diana, you might be like me, like overcompensate in some areas. Or Cortina, maybe. Well, we know you do because you still was like, you know, but you filling in some of your circles. And I guess, I think it's timing. Yeah, I don't know if I can fulfill a lot of those circles because of timing. There's a time and a place to have certain conversations. And then some conversations, I don't know, are just spark some reality.
And that's important. You got it, because you don't want to have the fantasy.
Yeah, I know that. So now let me ask you this, Louisa. You have I mean, I don't know if because I know you've had some dating and some, I don't know if you're committed in a relationship right now, but you have been before. How do you find the balance to even date now? And you have, you got kids in school and all, you have your own personal life going on. So how do you try to find balance for you to, for coupledom or even dating someone?
You you have to, you just have to make that time. And Lord have mercy. You have to make that time, even if it's just texting or a quick little call, or well, plan something ahead, because like you said, with everyone being busy and doing things, you have to plan ahead. Hey, what's on your calendar for this day? Because it's okay to take them out on a date. We don't always have to wait for them to take us out on a date. And you three ladies are super busy. You will actually have to be the ones to plan the dates. And I do that sometimes. I'll hey babe, you good on this day? Oh yeah, okay, so we'll go out this day. With my kids, because of co-parenting, because I'm divorced. Um, it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit difficult to kind of get their dad to work with me on certain times. So I could need to hey, can you get the kids this weekend? Because he's not on the schedule, whatever. But so the kids want to come, or they'll call and ask, and he may or may not, and so it just depends. But when I have something that I need to do, or I already have something planned, hey, you need to get them, and I have to tell him in advance as well, because he's petty and will not work with me because he knows it's something that I want to do. So it has a lot to do with, you have to plan, and you have to make it a priority for you. And even if it's just 15 minutes, like Diana was saying, she'd give him some time. Even if it's just 15 minutes, even if it's just 30 minutes, 15 minutes a day or whatever. And it's important too to communicate with your partner or your children or your family, or whomever you're needing that extra time with.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is, I now have a newfound way of looking at work-life balance, because I feel like life is not just life. And now see, now, damn it, Cortina. Now I feel like I'm questioning, like, how do you even really find the balance and what that should look like? And I will tell you, so Saturday, Jay and I started our premarital counseling. And it was so interesting, hearing his side of things and then having my side of things, be expressed. And then hear him answer some of the questions the way that he did was like, oh, but now looking at it this way, I'm just like, I feel like that there could be stronger and more intimate conversations. And I don't mean like intimate sexual intimacy at all, not even touching intimacy. I'm talking more intimate conversations when I'm considering quality time, because quality time was like, let's chill and watch TV. We might drink together. We'll go out and happy hour a lot. But that does not substantiate the important things in this relationship. It's like over putting too many eggs in this basket. And this is just literally coming to me now, having seen your list. So we might touch on something briefly and then just let it go, when in reality, it should have a little bit more further dialogue to make me feel comfortable. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. I got to be in a mood. So I guess there's that time and a place. And then I am guilty right now. I'm gonna put it on forefront. Guilty right now of deciding to just have certain conversations when we're in therapy.
That's good. That's the neutral zone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me ask you guys a question, ladies. Do you feel that it's difficult for you to tap into those type of questions, which is why, well, like Pam said, you may talk about it a little bit and then let it go. Do you feel that you might feel guilty if you go into these conversations?
No,
I
I feel like I
personally
go to
don't.
fuck off. No, because
No.
it'll make me go to fuck
Oh.
off. I'm just gonna be straight honest. So
Oh.
sometimes I just leave conversations alone, because I already know it's going to spark an attitude and it's not because I don't
With
want to.
you or with him?
It's his response. His response to certain things, because Jay is super nonchalant and very laid back. He's just like me. Here's a good example. When stuff happens, I will be like, God, fuck him. He'd be like, it's just that. It could just be that. I'm thinking, okay, whatever. It's no big deal. So nothing's a big deal for him. He's just, he lives his life in this perfect bubble. So it takes him a while to even process things. So when I talk to him, I had to learn this, and I've learned this in the course of being together over 9 years. If I say something to him, it pisses me off, but then I realize it takes him a little bit longer to process things. He'll take the whole goddamn 2-3 days and then come back and want to talk about it. By then I'm over it. I'm like, really? Are we back at this? But I have to give him the opportunity to process things that I'm saying to him. I don't like it. So his response sometimes when I'm ready to have conversations, it just pisses me the fuck off. And I'm just like, and I'm just being honest. No relationship is perfect because we're two different human beings. But I will say, for the most part, I choose not to have certain conversations now because we're in premarital counseling. And I'm like, let me address this there, because I can say what I need to. And if I don't say it where it can be received in a certain light, there's someone to mediate the conversation, to maybe say, this is what, here's what I'm hearing. What do you hear, or whatever? So
that's what I was going to say to you. Sibo and I went through that stage, and not to say that we still don't have times where the conversation can get a little sticky or a little, response wise. But I've often found that if there's something that I really want to discuss with him, and I know that it might be a quote unquote touchy situation, because, don't nobody know our men, we know our man. So I already know certain topics are triggers for him just off the cuff for no apparent reason. So I have to tailor my approach leading up into the conversation, even if he gets an attitude. Like, his responses half the time, I mean, I keep it real, he's not going to watch this. Half the time that I say something to him, I don't like how he responds. I just don't. It either comes off patronizing or just a little, what's the word that I use for him? I can't say that on here. I just don't like it. Okay. I just don't like it. So what I found myself doing is just saying in that moment, because then his response becomes a trigger. And then it becomes like a little dog and pony show, is like what I like to call it. Now we just catty. But that wasn't the original intent or goal. So when he gets in that place, I have to be, I like to say, mature enough in that moment to not allow him to trigger me to take us away from the end goal. Make sense? So even when he does it, I'm just like, well, honey, what I was trying to say, are you upset? I apologize if this. No, Diana, I'm not upset. Okay. You want to talk about it later? Beat him to the punch. You want to try to discuss this in a minute? Let me give you a couple seconds. So most of the time for me, that works. Then he'll start talking. But, sometimes I just say all this to say that sometimes it's in the delivery. Because if you're annoyed about something, is horrible. Well, you better work on it, because you about to be
and not even. And so I think I won't say horrible in that sense. It becomes horrible because in my mind, I feel like the delivery is okay. I think it's just from my mouth to his ears. I don't know, but he doesn't like difficult conversations. Like I said, he likes life. Just
no man does. No man wants to hear, we need to talk. No man wants to hear that shit right there. What the fuck do we need to talk about? I just got off work. I'm not trying to hear. Come on.
He'll say, but really quick, he'll say, we've been sitting on this couch all night. Now you bring it up. I'm like, well, when is a good time?
My new thing, like if I want to have a conversation with D, I say, you want to go for a walk? because I feel like us moving and walking, it's like bilateral stimulation. I'm able to talk out what I need to talk about. We're also moving. And it's almost like if it's a tough conversation, because you're walking, it flows. Now, I don't know if you all have ever heard of EMDR, but that's a therapeutic intervention that I use. And it's you use bilateral stimulation. And so like you're either tapping while you're talking. You ever heard like people tap on themselves to calm themselves down? The walking can do the same thing in some regards. So when you're talking, it's like I'm flowing and I'm just walking and we're talking, and we don't even have to necessarily be looking eye to eye with one another, but we're walking in front of us and we're talking, and you don't get distracted by facial cues, by body language, by any of that, because both of us are walking. And so you know how sometimes you might not like, you may be saying something and their facial affect or the way they do their face shut you down. If you're walking, we both looking ahead. So I'm still continuing to talk in my regular flow. And I'm not even worried about how your face is responding to what I'm saying, which keeps me on track and not distracted. So that's another tool that you can use to help further open up the conversation. Because even with these, and I know Pam, you were like, oh my Lord Jesus, this is a lot of different things. And Diana, you said something earlier, temperature checks. You check to make sure that are these circles balanced, right? So when it comes to fun, everything else, we might be saying it's a 10, it's great. Finances, great. Sex, great. Emotional intimacy, great. All of them. Well, do you feel like we have fun in this relationship? No, it's like the fun is sucked out of it, right? Because we can enjoy sex. That's sex. That's not fun in a relationship. Are we laughing with one another? Are we enjoying each other's company? Can we crack jokes? Do we find things humorous? That's totally separate than us having our social time with our friends. We might be laughing with our friends. Our friends don't live with us every day. So can we enjoy one another without other people being a part? And so that's where the fun of the relationship comes into play. Family time. Okay, what does that mean? Are you open? Have we done enough family stuff? Have we seen our parents, our aunts? Like, is that really important? Yeah, we've been good. Or, damn, I ain't seen my parents in a while. Family time ain't hitting on nothing, you know? Or, you know, if you're talking about health, how is our health? Are we okay with the way that we're eating? Are we okay with the amount of exercise happening with one another? Because in my relationship, health is a huge circle that we are consistently talking about, because D feels as though I want to die. Because he says, if you cared about your health, you would eat better, right? And so this is and people may be like, oh my God, health is important. This is a huge barrier in our relationship. And so I try to explain to him, just because I eat the way I eat, that don't mean I don't love you. But for him, it translates, you must don't want to be here. So you can't love me that much because you're trying to leave Earth, because you're not taking care of your health. So that's why all of these circles and talking about these things are so important. And you have to dive a little bit deeper than just the surface part.
I love that. I'm going to venture. Let me see. So I'm looking at all of your circles, and I'm just like, for my own work-life balance, and I'm looking at what I do. So definitely have fun. And
career is on there too. So that's another one that I didn't put.
Okay. So he probably going to be like, did you really say that on there? Because I know we're not the only ones. I don't really care. But like, fun and even sex is fun. Like, I don't know why sometimes we start laughing. Like, if it's something is going on, we might actually laugh during sex. Probably shouldn't do that, but we find different things. We do it all the time. Funny. Yeah, we find things funny. It's like, okay, are you really? I'm like, hey, you know.
I caught a Charlie horse during sex and we bust out laughing. Like, I couldn't move my leg. It's like, later, I can't. I was hurting.
Well, y'all try having sex with a puppy that get on the bed and be like,
oh. So sex
it's
can
horrible.
Yeah, exactly. But sex is fun where you can laugh. And I think after all these years, we have that still. I would say emotional intimacy, definitely have that. children, hell, she comes and goes when she pretty much wants to. So whenever she wants to come over, she comes over. If not, so, and we do stuff. Health, I need to get better with him about his health. I had my mammogram today. I had dental yesterday. I have my physical in June. So, it's there.
But Pam, children is a little bit deeper, right? Because we have a blended household. Mm-hmm. He doesn't like the way I parent Morgan.
Okay.
So it's a little bit, it's not just children good. No, it's about how we view, how we are rearing our children. So because we are a blended family, it brings up challenges of its own, because I don't believe in raising Morgan the way that my mama raised me. I was definitely afraid of Kathy. I don't want my child to fear me. Like, for example, he doesn't necessarily believe in, which is crazy because he's married to a therapist, but I was paying out of pocket for Morgan to go to therapy every week. He was like, do she really need that? Hell yeah, she really need that. And so he was like, I just think it's a waste of money. And so then even with me, what do you call it? How much money I spent on her Sweet 16. I know it comes from finances, but this was something I wanted to do for my daughter. And I paid for this, right? And so that was a whole thing because culturally, he doesn't even see the relevance of a Sweet 16. So that was kind of like a shift. And so we were not necessarily, when it comes to children, seeing eye to eye on, those particular things. So it went a little bit deeper because children can really cause issues and problems. Going back years ago, he felt as though the younger ones did not have to listen to Morgan. I said, oh, yes, hell, they do. If she's babysitting them, he was like, they don't have to listen to her. And so it was semantics, but that was a fracture. And so, like, you can have so many different levels under the umbrella of children. And some of these can have you, if I don't like going to bed mad, so it's not going to happen. I'm not going to engage in this, but some people can really take offense. Like, okay, now it's your child against my child over here. And that causes a divide. And so even though you yourself don't have any biological, you now share a child with, and do you agree with the way he's raising her? Does he agree?
Absolutely not. Oh. And I would tell you that's a sore spot, and I leave it alone because we don't see eye to eye on certain things. I feel like there are dynamics in the way that he parents that I don't agree with, nor do I. What do I say? Do I change what I have going on for? Oh, okay. So, and sometimes I just leave the conversation alone. It's very sensitive. And I will be honest, any real argument that we have, it's over that. Because if, outside of that conversation, because it's extremely sensitive, and he's very sensitive when it comes to that, no matter what, it's like, I can't say anything without there being some, in his mind, it automatically goes negative, even though my intentions are extremely pure and are good. It automatically sends like, oh, you have a problem. And I really don't, Tone. But here's the other part, and I'm gonna be 100. I don't give a fuck who watches this. You can go back 9.5 years. August would be 10 years from the time we met. I have never met her mother. So that sets the tone for a lot, know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's just 9.5 years. I've never picked her up, dropped her off there, nothing. And so exactly. So there are things that my beliefs, because my stepdad, who's my dad, but I said not my biological dad, raised me to be his own. So I've always viewed even step parenting as if you're a real parent. So there's that dynamic that's there that's not there. So we can't say that, we're getting married, but we can't really say we co-parent with the other person. He co-parents with her. He's always co-parented with her. We've been living together since 2019, the end of 2019. And it's still, and so I feel like we're still, and honestly, I don't really give a shit to meet her on it. I mean, it's been this long. I have no desire. I've never understood how you could have, I mean, as a parent, somebody who, I've been a stepmom before, or a bonus mom. It's not that I've not done it before, or I've not raised kids or anything else like that. We just have different views on parenting and what that can look like. But I always feel like, it's not my business at this point, and I know I shouldn't feel this way. So that's going to be one of these conversations, because getting married, you start crossing over into something completely different. So all the other boxes, I would probably say, are closer to being healthy, looking at it now fully, because when you first hear it, it's like, oh shit, overwhelming. But in hindsight, I can usually talk about anything that I want, even if it comes out bad and it might spark an argument. He'll come back. We never really recover when it comes to conversation about the children's circle.
And you know what? So and I think so. One of the things that I do when I see couples, I see them first together, then I see one party by themselves, I see the other party by themselves, and then I bring them back together, because people show up differently by themselves than when they're with their partner. And so in order for me to have a more holistic view of the relationship dynamic, I want to see if tone change, body change, comfortability change when I'm seeing them. And so I think it would be, in order for him to address the sore spot, for him to really figure out, why am I so activated when this topic comes up that causes me to be more sensitive when we're talking about it? Because marriage is a partnership. And if something happens to him, heaven forbid, when she gets older, we don't want to set up a situation where it's a disconnect fighting, because I wasn't necessarily, because let's just say, if you feel like, well, damn, I be wanting to take her to girls' day, get our nails done, do all this other kind of stuff, but there's still this kind of like disconnect, because dad makes it a disconnect, because you and her might be straight, right? But if there's confusion amongst the way that you feel, okay, she needs to be corrected, you might not even say anything, because it's like, I don't want to get into it with that.
Oh, no, I've said something and he wasn't happy about it, but if I honestly, whether my kid, my niece's nephew, they're stay in a child's place. That's ultimately how I feel. Stay in a child's place. And so I did one day I did say something, and what he tried to do, even though I knew what the truth was, he tried to take accountability for something that she was wrong at.
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely not. I heard what I said, and so I said what I said. So like I said, it's always sensitive. Now, she and I, we do have a relationship. We'll go hang out, and she loves when I'm here. She doesn't like when I'm not here. She notices when I'm gone for a long time. She's like, you've been gone a long time. And so I do love that, but I still feel as though the conversation pieces are still very difficult. And that's something I know we're going to have to address and talk about. It's going to be, can he handle that part of
what
the
is
therapy?
The conversation piece, Pam? If you and I was about to call her by name, but if you and this baby have a good enough relationship, right? And you've been around her for 9+ years, then what is the conversation?
I've not been around her for I've not been around her enough for 9.5 years. So there's a lot of
later.
There's a lot of layers to this, in our entire relationship. And like
some
I said,
of it having to do with the child's mother.
Yeah.
Cortina, what are your thoughts on that?
So I myself,
I said that too, Louisa,
because I do have bonus babies, right? They have a mom, and it's very important to me. Co-parenting is important, right? Yes. At different people's houses, there are different rules. And so when me and Dee first got serious, it was important for me to meet their mom. Well, she texted them back very nice, nastily, and said, basically, I don't want to meet her. And when God says it's time for us to meet, that's when I will meet her. My thing
Not
is,
when
you want
God
somebody
said.
around your children and you can't even test they energy or anything like that. So we've been together for years, and my bonus son, soccer, we've talked more at soccer games, and it's still very passing. She just keep her distance or whatever. I'm always the one that's trying to bridge the gap. Hey, I took this picture. You want me to send you this picture? You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how I am. My mom and dad, they cool, right? My stepmom, my mama, they cool. I'm not used to seeing dysfunction. And so when people cannot co-parent, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, why the hell we all just can't get along? Like, this is crazy. And so I think that even though children are resilient and they're great, they still have that ambivalence. Like when I'm over here, I'm at my mama, I might not give a damn about Miss Pam, but when I'm in Miss Pam's presence, I really care about her because I still have my mom, and we don't know what the other person might be saying. And so when it comes to, and Diana, you said, well, what are the other conversations? There's going to be consistent conversations coming up because the child is always going to be a part of the relationship. Prom might be coming up, boyfriends, sex, periods, hygiene.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant in terms of having a conversation that wouldn't go well. Like, I don't understand where the contention.
He might
What is
already.
it?
It's not content. It's discomfort more so than contention. It's discomfort. I don't think that. I think in his mind, he wants to treat his child or parent his child the way he wants to, with no regard to anybody. I'm not
With
talking
no
about our relationship
influence.
with outside influence, not anything, not anybody. But he can't.
Is he the same way with the child's mother?
I don't. What part did I say?
No, never mind. I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot. Shit. Sorry. Damn. Look.
So I think that you can't still carry that mindset that it's just you and your child, and we are supposed to be becoming a family or are a family. Yeah. So no matter what relationship she and I have, there should be conversation I should be able to have with my soon to be husband. So, and I think that's where, that's conversation we're definitely going to have and come to an agreement for him to be able to really not just listen, but hear and respect and understand that I have feelings too. Not just your daughter, but your wife has feelings when it comes to these conversations.
But he's going to have to do his own work to figure out what's his trigger and why he's so sensitive as it relates to that topic. I'm going to tell you like this. All this be out there at the soccer field, Dee and the kid's mom don't say two words to each other. I talk more to her than they communicate through text. That is it. And I'm like, I'm all about showing the children something different, that people can have differences and we still work together, and we are still, even though I don't always agree with her ways, I don't think that it should impact what we show in front of the children, if that makes sense. Even though Morgan daddy wasn't paying child support, we got a divorce. He told me, well, you on your own, you're gonna have to find somebody else to pick her up, and abusing all of that. He left our house, our shared house, to go move with another woman, right? I never used that against them. I never held that against him as it related to, I used to take Morgan to their house because my child has nothing to do with adult business. And I don't want to make her a pawn in that. So although I was going through my own hurt and mistrust and betrayal, I did not want to expose my daughter to that. And if that is the way that her dad would continue to be, she would figure that out on her own. I don't want to be bitter and pour that poison onto her. And so, again, still co-parenting. Everybody would be like, why the hell you still buy him Father's Day presents? Because Morgan has a father, and I want her to know that we celebrate. It doesn't matter what they got going on. He ain't my daddy. He's her dad. So that's why she is buying her dad a gift. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so my mom will always be like, oh my God, this is so, no, it's not. For me, this is healthy. I don't want him. He don't want me. Great, fine. However, we share a child, and I want her to see health. Hell, with my two bonus babies, Every Christmas, I buy them from the kids because my husband damn sure ain't gonna do. He say she get enough of my child support money. I'm not spending another dime on. I say, okay, well, we're gonna go buy something from the kids for her, even on Mother's Day, because I think that is important. Now, it might not be important to other people, but for me, it is. And this at this point, this was when the lady was telling me I need to, mind my business and all this other kind of stuff she had already done said. Oh, Miss Tina talk too much and everything like this, because I'm asking the girl about, what she like on her hamburger, whatever. And so even though she's made disparaging comments about me, I'm grown. They ain't gonna bother me. So that's not gonna stop me from being who I am. And so I think that's important. And at some point, I'm hoping and I'm optimistic that we will be able to bridge that gap and have shared birthday parties. Now, that might not come for about 10 more years, but that's okay. At some point, we might be able to do that. And I wanted to reach out to the kids myself only because, and Dee was like, I mean, you do what you want to do. I ain't talking to her though, because she don't want to. And he was like, if that's what you want to do, but you gonna see what type of person she is. Okay, well, let me find that on my own, because she may respond to you, the child's mom, differently than she responds to Jay. We don't know. And then if she rejects you and be like, fuck you, bitch, I don't want to talk to you, don't call my phone, then
it is what
I
it
already
is.
know. Okay, cuckoo for go.
No, they got a great relationship. They have a great relationship.
We talking about you.
That's what I'm saying. Jay and his baby's mother.
Yeah, but what about you?
No, I'm saying if you reach out, if you get to the place and then like you say, you know what, I am Jay's fiance, and I just want us to be able to communicate,
Why?
For the sake of the daughter.
Why?
Because he doesn't want it, or you don't want to do it?
Because I think it's because he doesn't want it.
No, I don't. I'm not even factoring his feelings in it.
Why wouldn't you want that? Getting ready to be this man's wife.
You finna be
and
her
this
stepmama.
child's bonus mom. Come on. Why? That is something, we talk.
I'm gonna. So I'm. We are on air. I'm gonna table that. I'm gonna table this because I know it's not going to.
Oh yeah, because we about to go dark.
It's not
live. God damn it, we live.
Yeah. So that's why y'all already know how I am, and it's not.
Yes.
I won't say that it's anything negative, so to speak. But it's also probably not positive. When I say that that's a conversation we would definitely, that needs to come up and be had. Understandably, that it's been August will be 10 years, and by the time we get married, it'll be 10 and a half years. So there's just, that's just interesting conversation about why, 9.5 years, just understand it. Like I said, we're going to, I'll share that for after, just to have that quick discussion, and I'll share that.
But after show.
Yeah, that's the after show note.
But you know what? I understand why you feel the way you feel, Pam, because that's a long time to now come to that place. I get it. I do get it. But I also I'm with Cortina on this, like with her and her husband and her bonus babies. Sometimes you do find out that the woman is crazy, and that maybe he's just trying to keep you away from the crazy. But I'm big. I had a stepfather, and my biological father, he was around, but he didn't really have too much to say. So when my stepfather came in, that was it. That was my dad. But I know now with my kids and my ex-husband, he's not going to allow me any peace on that side of the, what I'm saying? Because it's like, we're not together. You're not going to be happy. Well, sweetheart, you don't know me. Okay. Because I'm going to be happy regardless if you in my face or not. But the thing is, it's always touchy with kids. And we have 5 kids together. And so, of course, I will want the person that I'm dealing with to meet their father. He wants to meet him. Their dad will not. He just won't. He won't talk to him. He won't meet him in person. He has seen him several times and pass him, like, pull up or whatever. But he just will not. So when it comes to stuff like that, you just have to let it be and let it go the way it goes. But I don't have time for childish behaviors. Okay. And I'm pretty sure you don't either. So I totally get why you're like, okay, it's been so long, but I don't know. I think it needs to really a really good conversation between you two, because you guys will be married and you have to see.
I don't feel like that's a conversation anymore.
It should be.
I know it should be. I just don't. Like I said, well, I'm gonna chair that for post show. But so this is a good thing because we're at the end of the show. So
One thing
it
I
felt
will
like we were
say-
just having girl talk right now. I mean, this didn't even feel like the show today.
I know, but this is and look, this is happy hour. I'm having my drinks. I'm talking to my girls. Hey,
So this is the thing, right? For anybody who's listening, knowing that when you are in a relationship and being able to, I don't care if you're already married, not married, wherever you are on your relationship journey, you're gonna have tough conversations, and all the conversations are not always going to be easy. But if you are used to just sweeping things under the rug, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be a buildup and an explosion. So we have the sex, the career, the finances, the fun, the emotional intimacy, the children, the health, the home, the family time, the social. Make sure you're checking your circles. Make sure you're doing a temperature check to see how are we feeling about these things. You know what? We did good 2 months ago on fun. We ain't had no goddamn fun in this relationship last month because all the other circles was out of whack. So if we got to have those type of conversations, that's what we have to do. We might have to pull back on some areas and then accelerate in other areas, but being comfortable enough to talk about all of these circles is going to be what's in the best interest as it relates to the health of relationships.
I totally agree. So with that, Cortina, everybody, Louisa, do you have to jump out? Okay, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at the Blue Phoenix Hills everywhere.
Okay, all right. See you next Wednesday. Cortina, where can everybody find you at?
Everybody can find me at the Girlfriend Therapist on all social media platforms, at Sex SEXD Unveiled on Instagram, and at the Noir Center on Instagram as well.
All right, Diana, where can everybody find you?
Yes, you can find me at Diana Richardson Philippus on Instagram, as well as you can find me on Instagram at EWE_Empowered Women Empower on Instagram, and EWE Inspires on Facebook.
All right. You can find me on all social media at IAMDRPGURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley, as well as the BGBB Kids Red Carpet and Brown Girl Brown Boy series. If you would like to be on the show and be featured, you can go to herspirationhh.as.me. And then last, we are on TikTok. So follow us on TikTok at Herspiration Happy Hour. Of course, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok, and on Twitter, we're under Herspiration HH. The name is a little long for Twitter, so it's been cut down. With that, I think, I love that we can have very honest and raw conversations, and I hope this empowers and inspire people to be okay having conversations, because this is real life, and the only way you can really get work-life balance is for you not to ignore certain things in your life, because oftentimes we carry our work into our life and then our life until our work, and we never really have that balance. So I hope you make use of this session today. Go play back and hear back some other episodes as well. Follow us on our YouTube channel. Stay connected. We will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. And as we always say at the end of every episode, cheers.
This is Herspiration.